Our guest on This is America in the World is Ambassador Vlora Çitaku. Ambassador Çitaku is ambassador from the Republic of Kosovo to the United States. The ambassador is formerly Minister of European Integration, former acting foreign minister, and former consul general to Kosovo's mission in New York. Madam Ambassador, good to have you with us.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Tell us three things we should know about Kosovo.
Well, it's not only the youngest democracy in Europe. We're just 2 years younger than Twitter. We're also the youngest demography. 70% of our population is under 30. We are the most pro-American nation on the face of the earth. There's no other place where you will find the Bill Clinton statue and George W. Bush Boulevard in the city center. And we are a nation of survivors.
Yes.
Just 17 years ago, 1 million Kosovars, over half of our population, was deported from their homes as part of the ethnic cleansing campaign. But we are a success story because we survived, we made it back home, and we are rebuilding our state.
Thank you. Bill Clinton and George Bush, tell us a little bit how they fit into the history, the recent history.
Well, Kosovo is blessed to have had a very bipartisan support from both Democrats and Republicans. It was actually George Bush the father who in 1992 issued to Milosevic what became known as the Christmas warning, warning Milosevic not to use force against Kosovar Albanians. Then it was Bill Clinton, and under his leadership that NATO undertook the air campaign that finally liberated Kosovo and made it possible for us to go back home. And then it was during George Bush II that we got our independence. So it's a very bipartisan and very consensual foreign policy topic. And for us also, it's very, very inspiring because you are blessed to have been born in a great country. And often people take that for granted. But for someone who was born in a small country and belonged to a generation that was oppressed, you cannot imagine how wonderful it feels to have someone you can rely on. And we could always rely on the United States' help and support.
I think of Bush 41 and 43,
Yes.
George W., and he was always talking about America's freedoms. And I always thought that maybe what we had going for us, in addition to the freedoms, of course, was the opportunity for people here to kind of do anything they wanted to do. And if they had a modicum of talent in a particular area and they were willing to work very, very hard, you could pretty much realize a dream.
It is true. And this is what I try to explain to my American friends and colleagues. What inspired us as a nation of oppressed people was not the might of your army, because yes, eventually that came to our rescue. But what inspired us was the Statue of Liberty. And what that symbolized, a land where everybody, no matter of their color, the color of their skin, their religion, their background, if you work hard, you will have a chance. And that's what we wanted for ourselves in our own country, in our own land.
Not to say that we don't have our problems here.
Of course you do, yes. Otherwise you wouldn't be real.
Yeah.
Of course you do, but despite all the problems, U.S. is still by far the best this planet has to offer.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the basics as far as Kosovo is concerned. We'll put a map up on the screen when the time comes, but tell us a little bit about the neighboring countries and the Balkans. We don't know. People here are confused about the Balkans and the Baltics.
Well, we
educate
do have
us.
some things in common, but
But educate us on the Balkans.
well, it's a beautiful region, and fortunately, no longer known only for its tragic past. It's a beautiful region where you have beautiful mountains, like the ones you have in Kosovo. Just extraordinary for anyone who's a great fan of hiking. You have beautiful coastline in Albania, in Montenegro, in Croatia. You have great rakia throughout the region. In Kosovo, we have beautiful vineyards, and we do produce our own wine, and we have just started to export here in the United States as well. So it's a very hospitable region, and if you decide to come, if like 2 weeks would be enough to go across most of the countries in the region. There is a very good infrastructure in place. After the devastating war of wars, actually, of the 90s, the countries have rebuilt themselves. You will see now highways. It takes you 2 hours from Pristina to be in the coastline in Albania, 4 hours in Montenegro.
Pristina is your capital?
Yes, is our capital, or 6 hours to be from Pristina to Dubrovnik. So if you set aside 2 weeks, you should definitely come and visit the region. As an American, it is a must to have a stop in Kosovo if you really want to feel pampered for being an American.
Because you love us so much.
It's not a blind love, and this is something I've tried to explain all the way. It's a great feeling of appreciation and gratitude for everything that U.S. has done. You will see in Kosovo American flags, probably more than you see here in Washington. Next to our flag, there's always an American flag.
Oh, how nice. Let me just interrupt our conversation and us learning about Kosovo, telling the folks at home we're honored to have with us Her Excellency, the ambassador from Kosovo, Vlora, and is it pronounced Çitaku?
Çitaku.
Could give it to me again.
Çitaku.
Çitaku.
C-I-T-A-K-U. It's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
I know.
Give it to me one more time. I'm willing to learn.
Çitaku.
C-H-T-I?
Yes.
K-U?
Yes.
Çitaku.
Taku.
Taku.
Yes.
We're going to leave it there, folks. He tried his very best, and that was the best he could do. We're honored to have the ambassador with us. We'll take a little break. Back on the other side, This is America and the World. This is America and the World is brought to you by the National Education Association, the U.S.-China Education Trust, and F.Y. Chang Foundation, guided by Ambassador Julia Chang Block, President. The League of Arab States, representing 350 million people in 22 member countries. The Petroleum Group, expertise with integrity in the fields of oil and gas, exploration and production, energy, and infrastructure. The Rotendaro Family Trust. The Embassy Series, uniting people through musical diplomacy, presenting international artists in diplomatic settings. And Ventana Productions, television facilities, editing, and distribution services. Ambassador, some of the details. Population of Kosovo, how many?
It's 1.8 million.
1.8.
1.8, yes.
Okay.
And the latest census we did showed that 1/3 of our population lives predominantly in European countries. We have a very large diaspora in Germany, in Switzerland. We have a very vibrant community here also in the United States. So it's young, it's ambitious, and trying to work hard to build their own new state.
You said young, and you said earlier a huge segment of the population. What pushes the economy, and how solid is the economy? Because I know that you've struggled.
We're still
Yeah.
we're still struggling. Of course, the challenges we face today are nothing compared to what we have gone through. But once you're free and independent, you realize that survival is not the only worry. You have roads to build, schools to construct, laws to adopt, energy to provide. So many needs, and everything is a priority. Kosovo was very underdeveloped during the Yugoslavian time, and our economy was totally devastated. After the war, we had to go through multiple transitions and to reconstruct our economy. We're very good at agriculture. Our berries are probably the best in Europe. We are very good at services. We have very skilled young population that is doing terrific, wonderful job in IT sector. We have wonderful startups, and some of them have been internationally rewarded. So it's agriculture, it's services, but there's still a lot to do. We still have high unemployment, especially amongst the youth.
Yes.
Although we have had a positive economical growth, 4% last year, and ever since we declared independence, we've had positive growth. 4% of GDP is not a little, but in order to fight the level of unemployment we have, which is around 30%, then we need to double our growth.
What's the makeup of the ethnic population?
90% is Albanians, 92% actually, to be more precise, is Albanians. And Albanian, and I don't blame you for not knowing to pronounce my last name, Albanian is a very unique language. In the Indo-European tree of languages, we are a separate wing. We are unlike any other language. We're not Slavic, we're not Latin, we're separate wing in the tree of Indo-European languages. And we are one of the oldest languages spoken in Europe. So it's Albanian. Then we have minorities. We have Serbs, we have Turks, we have Bosniaks, and we have Roma. It's a secular republic. And multi-religious and multicultural.
I was interested to find out that in the area, the Balkans, it said #1 in religious tolerance, and in the world, #8 as far as...
And Kosovo is a champion.
Yeah. What's that all about? What's that all about?
Because in Kosovo, Albanians, religion was never the most substantial layer of our identity. It was an added value to our identity, but it was never the substantial layer. Albanians have 3 different religions. You have Catholic, Orthodox, you have Muslim, predominantly Muslim. But we've always gone along very well. You will find in Kosovo cities where the churches and mosques share the same yard.
Oh,
and it is fascinating.
Very nice, very nice.
It is, and we organize annually an interfaith conference. We've had very high dignitaries, Nobel Peace Prize winners who have come and spoken, and we try to share our story.
There's tension in some of the ethnic groups, is there not?
There used to be, there used to be, but now, gradually the region is normalizing itself. Unfortunately, Serbia still has not recognized independence of Kosovo, and that is probably the main source of tensions in the region. But everybody in the region knows, Serbia knows, and their official knows that there's no going back. Our independence.
The train has left the station?
The train has left the station. Kosovo is independent, and that will never change.
How about how women treated in Kosovo?
Well, you would be surprised to know that we had a woman president.
Yes, I know, yeah.
Probably not you, but many viewers would. We had a woman president, and she just gracefully concluded her term. We have 30%, over 30% of women's participation in the parliament, and that's a constitutional quota. Yes, it's a mandatory one.
Wow,
Yes.
interesting.
Well, that's the advantage.
See, we can learn from you.
That's the advantage of building your nation from the scratch,
Yeah.
because you can put the foundations of making sure that it will become an inclusive state and society. We also have a quota for minorities. Our parliament has 120 seats. 20 seats are reserved for minorities, so it's a positive discrimination. It's higher representation than their demographic presence in Kosovo. So it's we've come a long way. But of course, there's still a lot we need to do for women empowerment, especially their inheritance and their inclusion in private sector.
They leave things to the sons, and that's the way it goes.
Not all, but that is still a real challenge we face.
Let us find out a little bit about you. Born in 1980, is that correct?
That is correct.
Wow.
Yes.
Born in 1980 in the capital city, and so growing up years in the 80s, what's going on within the country?
Well, it was a very difficult period. And it was the time, like right after I was born, well, not right after, but years after I was born, Milosevic came into power. Needless to say that Albanians in former Yugoslavia did not live very well. We were not an equal citizens. We were treated as a second-class citizens.
Second is putting it mildly.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, very few people know that we had political prisoners during Tito's time. We have an icon, Mr. Adem Demaci, who was in prison for 29 years for his political beliefs. So it was a very tough time. It was not easy to be an Albanian in former Yugoslavia. I remember when I was a child, when I went to school, our schools were closed. The only public broadcaster in Albanian language was closed. Our parents were forced out of their jobs.
What did they do?
My parents, for example, they were both university professors, and they were forced to leave their job along with everybody else who was Albanian, because we refused to obey to Milosevic's cause and regime. So it was not easy. But we're not victims, you know.
But you were a refugee?
I was a refugee, yeah. That was in 99, in the spring of 99.
Does that mean you were out of the country?
I was, yes, along with 1 million Kosovars, over half of our population. We were deported from our homes as part of the Serbian machinery's ethnic cleansing
How old
campaign.
were you when that happened?
I was 18. I was young.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have sisters, yes. I have 3 sisters.
Tell me how that impacts a family when you have to leave. You have to leave your home, your country, your jobs, your environment, your life.
You get separated from everything you know and everything you love. I remember the day when Serbian forces came to throw us out. We got separated, our sisters and our parents. So we lost our parents. I remember, because it was a massive deportation. It was chaos. I remember walking with my sisters, carrying the little one in my arms.
How old?
She was 9. She was scared. We all were. But I remember I had hope that one day I would go back home. Actually, hope was all I had. Hope was all we had. And this is just a fraction of what happened. You know, I was amongst the lucky ones.
How so?
There are many that suffered much more. 20,000 women were raped in Kosovo during that period of time. thousands of kids, children were killed. So my story is not the most painful one. Actually, I was fortunate to survive, fortunate to be reunited with my family. Not many families were reunited. There are still over 1,000 Albanians that are missing.
When you see the pictures today of Syria and Aleppo, what's happening inside?
It is devastating. It is devastating because I belong to a generation of refugees that was fortunate to go back home. The world reacted quickly to end the war in Kosovo, and we were liberated. And I know not every situation is identical. I know that the situation in Syria is a complex one. But I sometimes cannot understand the indifference. It is painful to see what's going on with refugees. And very often people mix refugees with migrants. They're not running for a better life. They're running for life. They're deported. They're forced to leave. And while politicians need their time to find lasting solutions, the rest of us, we just need to be human.
Time is going to force me to tell the folks a little bit about your background, because there are a few key questions at the end I want to ask you about. As a teenager, you were both an interpreter and a stringer, a reporter for Western media. You got into public relations, and from public relations, you ended up in politics. You were elected to the parliament 2 times, and then segued to the diplomatic corps. You've been a minister in a number of, with a number of portfolios, integration into Europe, one, acting foreign minister as another. You ended up as well in New York as the general counsel to put Kosovo on the map at the United Nations. And here you are in Washington, D.C. as the ambassador. What do you see, which is a phenomenal resume?
You know, it's because extraordinary circumstances produce extraordinary opportunities.
That produce extraordinary people. So,
and opportunities, because I don't think I would have had the opportunities I have in a well-established country where you have a record, and we had to start everything from the scratch.
You're very humble.
No, I'm just real.
You are. But I got to ask you these questions. What do you see as your mission here in the United States and the relationship between Kosovo and the United States, which you've said is excellent?
Well, the world has today many pressing issues, many pressing priorities. My number one job is to remind the administration that the region, while it's peaceful and it has progressed a lot, is still unfinished business. Kosovo is still not recognized by Serbia. It's still not a UN member because of the Russian veto. And because we're not UN member, our participation in the global family is being hindered.
The last numbers I checked were 109.
At 12, now it's 12.
112?
Yes.
And then about 70 some are still in the wings.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is challenging, but Kosovo is not the only unfinished business in the region. Bosnia is also facing serious problems. Macedonia, Serbia itself. So we do need still U.S. Attention. We need them on the front row to help Europeans in order to resolve this remaining unfinished issues of the region.
Let me also insert here, because we are at the end of our time, as far as the European Union, the process is in in action, 23 or so
Yeah.
of the 28 nations?
With European Union, it's a different dynamic. Kosovo has signed stabilization and association agreement with European Union, which is the most important contract before accession into the European Union. So with EU, we're on the right path. We're just looking forward when we can replicate this with NATO, because we want to be able to become a NATO member in the future.
We're at the end of our time. You have educated us beautifully about your country. You have shared with yourself as a human being in person. Thank you so much, Madam Ambassador.
Thank you.
For information about This Is America and the World and to watch all of our programs, visit our website, thisisamerica.net, and look for us on Facebook and Twitter. This Is America and the World is brought to you by the National Education Association, the U.S.-China Education Trust, and F.Y. Chang Foundation, guided by Ambassador Julia Chang Block, President. The League of Arab States, representing 350 million people in 22 member countries. The Petrolin Group, expertise with integrity in the fields of oil and gas, exploration and production, energy, and infrastructure. The Rotendaro Family Trust. The Embassy Series, uniting people through musical diplomacy, presenting international artists in diplomatic settings. And Ventana Productions, television facilities, editing, and distribution services.